Hey, welcome back to Zombie Tactics. If you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you know that I'm a fan of this rifle, this specific rifle. This is a Smith & Wesson M&P15. It's their sport model, and I own one of these myself. This is my wife's rifle. We purchased this for her recently. Let me grab mine real quick, and you'll notice a couple of differences. Mine's been modified a little bit. I've got some doodads on here that don't come with the rifle. For instance, I've replaced my fore-end with a Magpul fore-end. That was something I intended to do all along. I've got a Vortex Strike Fire optic on it. That's a red dot, green dot with no magnification. That works really well for me. And it is one of the very first sport models that came out, which means that it's got the original rear sight mechanism, which is kind of a standard AR-15, static mounted sight system on it. Good rifle. I like them a lot. I'm going to talk about more about the base model, though, that you get and some changes that have happened in that line over time. Now, just as an overview, understand that the M&P15 sport rifle is an AR-15. It is almost entirely the same as any other of the AR-15s that Smith & Wesson sells in their line. The lower is the same lower. It is made to the same standards. It's got a staked castle nut. It's military configuration as opposed to commercial configuration, so it uses all the same standard parts. It's got a, it shoots 5.56 and .223 ammo just fine. The barrels and everything are of the same quality, made out of the same metals as the higher quality ones in the line. There's some variations in there, but as a general rule, they're of the same quality. Everything about it is an AR-15 with the exception of two things. And I'll roll in some pictures here as I'm pointing here. You don't have a dust cover on here as you would with a standard AR-15, and you don't have a forward assist. That's either a really big deal for you or it's not. I've talked to dozens of guys who've actually gone to war with AR-15s, and they say they never use the forward assist with their AR-15 that was issued to them by the with their M4 or whatever variant of this rifle that was issued to them by the government, the Colt model or whatever. They've never used the forward assist in X number of years or X number of rotations or missions or whatever. The dust cover is another story. I think that is important to have if you are the kind of person who's going to be rolling around in faraway, dusty desert lands with the ability to maybe maintain this rifle few and far between in your opportunities. Other than that, for a citizen self-defense type of thing, dust cover is of reasonably little utility. I know a number of police departments that are not rich police departments that field this exact rifle as their patrol carbine, and they either don't worry about that dust cover at all, or believe it or not, what they do is they throw some blue painter's masking tape over it, which they then just rip off, or the first time you fire it, that tape's going to come right off. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't affect the ejection of the rounds or anything like that. Lots and lots of people are using this rifle. Lots and lots of people like it. I purchased this very rifle here for $650. The one that I purchased before for myself was like $5.99 on some kind of Christmas special or something. Now that's a very low cost, very low price for an AR-15, and frankly, in terms of general quality, I would place it in the same league so far as function is concerned with rifles costing hundreds of dollars more. While Smith & Wesson did leave out a couple of little things there with the forward assist and the dust cover, overall, everything else about this rifle is top quality. They have, however, over time changed some things about the Smith & Wesson Sport, and I want to bring those to your attention, which is really the purpose of this video, about, 4 or 5 minutes into the video right now. Everything about this rifle is pretty much the same that you would buy today, except for the following things. You'll notice here on the back end, and I'll roll in some video or a picture of this as well, the original rifle, pay no attention to it, when the Sport first came out, it had this kind of standard rear sight mechanism, all metal construction, a standard, I don't know if this is called the A2 configuration or what it is, but it's a pretty standard AR-15 sight, backup iron sights. They, after that, switched, and I think they did it for price reasons, and just kind of for cool guy factor, I don't know. They switched to the Magpul flip-up rear sight, and that flips up like that, and all of the current models have this same flip-up rear sight. Halfway through, they changed something else, and I want to talk about that a little bit. If you looked at this rifle, you'd be hard-pressed to see any difference about it other than the modifications that I made to it that's different about the current model, other than this rear sight here. And there are some quality points about having to do with the way that this rifle is constructed that make a great deal of difference and make it a better choice in a value-priced AR-15. One of them is that the barrel construction itself uses a melanite-treated barrel. Now, I consider melanite treatment with the right kind of metal, and they do use the right kind of metal with this. They use a 41 something or other steel, along with a good solid melanite treatment. That's the same thing that Glock treats their barrels and slides with. It's the same thing that Smith & Wesson treats their M&P pistol line with, the barrels of that and the slides with that. It has great corrosion resistant capabilities. It has an inherent lubricity to it that makes things work very well, and it's very tough so far as standing up to ballistic pressure. As a matter of fact, I think that it's a superior treatment for a rifle barrel than a chrome lining would be. And this is one area where this rifle is not what you'd call mil spec, but my opinion is someone who knows a little bit about metallurgy, and I think most metallurgists would agree with this. Melanite treatment is actually a superior way to go. It will be tougher, it will last longer over time. There are actually a number of manufacturers that use melanite or tenifer, or sometimes they'll refer to it as salt bath nitriding or some other acronym that they make up for it. And it is a superior treatment to going with a chrome lining. It'll last longer, all kinds of things, easier to clean, all kinds of good stuff like that. They have not changed that. What they have changed is they don't feature that in their advertising as much for the sport now. And I think the reason for their doing that is that the tactical model, which is a few $100s more than this, it's almost twice the price if you take a look at it in the catalogs. The tactical model uses a barrel which, for previous models of the sport, was the identical barrel. It was melanite treated, and it used what's called a 5R rifling profile. And that is actually what this rifle has here. My rifle, the one that I purchased previously, has the 5R rifling profile and the melanite treatment, exactly the same as the tactical model. It is exactly the same barrel as used in the tactical model. And I think what they did is they kind of said, wait a minute, we want to downplay that a little bit because we're losing sales of the tactical model. So what they've done is the current models are still salt bath nitrided, tenifer, melanite, whatever process you want to call it. They still have that treatment. So the barrel is still good and tough. What they've changed, however, is they haven't gone with the 5R rifling profile, which is a very, very high quality rifling profile, often not seen in anything other than higher end target guns and hunting rifles. Instead, they've gone to a more standard rifling profile that you would find in a typical AR-15. It uses a 1-in-9 twist as opposed to the 1-in-8 twist that the previous versions do. So they've changed the rifle a little bit. Still very high quality, still very accurate. I haven't taken this one out and shot it yet. I'm hearing good things about it. My personal rifle here in the hands of the right person or in a vise is actually a sub 1 minute of angle gun, and that's verifiable with this very inexpensive rifle, a sub 1 minute of angle rifle. You can shoot this thing. If you can shoot it, I can't shoot it this well, but you put it in a vise or you put it in the hands of somebody who really knows what they're doing with it, and it will perform that well. Do I expect this one to perform that well? I don't know. What I do know is that a 1-in-9 barrel twist is certainly sufficient for just about any normal kind of ammunition that you're going to use in this. It'll do fine until you start really using the really heavy 77 grain loads. The melanite treatment means that it's going to be easy to care for, and it does tend to make, I think, a more accurate and tougher barrel overall over time. So the Smith & Wesson M&P15 Sport, a few changes have happened with it. We now have the flip-up MOE sight. They've changed the barrel a little bit. Other than that, it still has all the great qualities that have made this what I think is the premium choice in a low-cost AR-15 rifle. They just plain work. I know training companies, 2 or 3 of them, including one of them here locally, that use these as their loaner guns. A number of ranges use these as their rental guns. A number of police departments that don't have a lot of money, these are actually the issued carbines for patrol rifles. And they take a lot of beating, and they keep on ticking, to use that old, cliched Timex line, and continue to just keep offering excellent service for a rifle that's a very low cost. For that reason, it is my pick for a low cost citizen self-defense or preparedness rifle. And it'll continue to be so until I find something better. That's the Smith & Wesson M&P15 AR-15 rifle, the sport model. That's Zombie Tactics for today. As always, aim for the head, keep your powder dry. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.